You know, when I look around at all the entrepreneurs who are grinding it out, spending 70 to 80 hours per week growing their business, you have to ask yourself the question, at what cost? Hi, my name's Tim Uchuk, and in this podcast, we're going to be exploring the tools, tactics, and strategies for crushing it and scaling your business without making the ultimate sacrifice of your time and freedom. Hey, what's up everyone? Tim Uchuk here, coming to you from a gloomy day here on Vancouver Island. And I just finished having lunch. I'm on my way back to the office for a couple more hours of work, and then we're going to go out with the kiddos. But what I wanted to talk to you today in this podcast is inspired by our coaching call earlier this week, where I was talking with one of my clients about a shift in strategy that is required as your business grows. And specifically, what I'm talking about here is when you feel overwhelmed with all of the moving parts, all the transactions, all the activities, all the follow up with your team, your growing team, and all of those things are robbing you not only of your ability to focus and think and be present, but more importantly, or as importantly, to spend and reallocate your time where it should be, which is, growing your business, right? And so that's the theme that I wanted to talk about, and the solution that I found that this was again one of the big epiphanies that I had was that I used to focus on all the all the stuff that's happening under the surface, all the activities. Are you working on this? Why didn't you get this done? The follow up, this is when it feels like running a daycare in your business, when you're focused on all these granular things. And what you want to do as an owner, and I'm just going to use a great analogy, which is, do you think someone like Elon Musk with Tesla is aware of all of every car that goes off the line and all the details and the quality check and who it's going to? And do you think they follow every transaction? Do you think Jeff Bezos is aware of every transaction happening in Amazon? Now, those are extreme examples, but I just want to make the point of, at some point in time in your business, you're going to have to shift how you do things so that you don't have to pay attention to the minutia. Now, how do you make that shift? And even if you have 5 people, 10 people on your team, the sooner you make the shift, the sooner you're going to see great results in your time, your ability to focus, and even in the health of your culture and the health of your team by making this shift. And here's what I'm talking about. The way that I like to term it is by creating and making a shift in your culture towards a results only working environment, a results only working environment. So what does this mean? Well, if you're looking at your business, you zoom out 30,000 feet and you're looking at your business as a consultant. You're consulting for your own business, and you know nobody in the business, and the business owner comes and says to you, I want my business to make $100,000 every month. That's what I want. How do I do it? And I want 40% profit margins in my business. That's what I want. And if you look at it from that perspective, it's pretty specific. If we do the activities, the correct activities that are going to drive $100,000 in sales each month, then we will, if we do the activities, then that will result. That $100,000 a month will be your result. So it becomes like physics. And in your business, what I'm hinting at is that's what you want to value in your business. That's what your team wants to value in your business. So when you're having a conversation, and I just want to spend some time going through a concrete example of what I'm talking about. And let's start with that actually. So let's pretend that in your sales department, and there's, throughout your business, you've got your operations where you want to maintain, satisfied customers and all of that stuff. But let's talk about specifically your sales department. And let's say your target for one of your sales team members was $100,000 a month, right? $100,000 a month, broken down into 4 weeks, would give you $25K per week. So you would need to sell $25,000 per week. Now it comes down to, okay, well, what are we selling and what's the average price? let's just, for the sake of simplicity, say that your product on average, your ticket is $10,000 on average. So that would mean if you need 25K a week to get to 100K a month, you would need to sell 2.5 units per week. 2.5 units per week. Now let's say that to get 2.5 units per week, you have to get a sale. You have to have a meeting, right? You have to actually get in front of a prospect and understand their needs. And if it's a good fit, you would need to convert them into a sale, into a customer. So if you need 2.5 of those every single week, let's say that your close rate on meetings is 25%. 25%. So if your close rate is 25%, that would mean you'd have to have 10 meetings per. I know we're getting really mathy here, but if you wanna actually achieve these results, you have to get comfortable around this stuff. So we're reverse engineering it, right? So okay, 2.5 sales per week, and let's say your close rate is 25%. That would mean that if you have 10 meetings in a week and you're closing, you would have to close 2.5 out of those 10, right? It's 25%, 2.5 out of 10 meetings. So that would mean you're having, on average, 2 meetings a day. If you want to spread it out, 10 meetings a week, you're closing 2.5 out of those. Now, the variables that you can play with here are you can play with your conversion rate. So you can either increase that or you can get more meetings. So let's say that you're struggling to get 2.5 sales. Well, let's get more meetings. Well, now the conversation comes. Let's say we're getting back to how do you manage your team in a healthy way? Well, if Johnny on your team is averaging one sale per week, meaning four per month. That means that you're 40% of your target. He's getting $40,000 a month. You want to get 100K. So you're coming at it as a coach, saying, "How can I help you succeed? Let's look at this system. Let's break it down. Johnny, how can I help you succeed? And let's look at the areas that are getting in your way, are roadblocking you." And so maybe he says, "I'm spending most of my time in the paperwork. I'm spending, 80% of my day I'm quoting, and when I'm quoting, I'm not setting up meetings and appointments, and those are the things that are getting in my way." So now you become Detective Columbo and you figure out, okay, let's look at the quoting process. How can we streamline it? How can we get it off your plate? How can we automate it? How can we delegate it to somebody else on the team? Because your time should be in these meetings, right? Because a meeting, 2.5 out of 10 of these meetings are going to be worth a lot of money to us. So let's look at that. Let's look at what is preventing you from getting to those 10 meetings per week. He might say, we just don't have enough leads. And so what are you doing to generate leads? Is it trade shows? Is it outbound cold calling? Are you using ads to generate leads? Do you have a lead generating system so that you can say every day we generate 20 leads in our business, and our cost for a lead for us is $10. So we spend $10 for a lead every day, and we spend and we get 20 a day. So 10 times 20, $200 a day is driving leads into our business. So we're really pulling this thing apart. We start with the end in mind, $100,000. We pull this thing apart. We understand within your business, what are the things that are going to translate into that target for you? And that's where you focus. That's where you put your attention, your energy, your coaching, your support is in helping your team to arrive at those results. Because if you're able to do that, guess what? You're going to hit your target. Now, if you focus on the micromanaging, so this is where most business owners do it, they micromanage. What were you working on today? Let's scrutinize the three activities you were working on, and why didn't you get these done? If you focus only on why didn't you get the 10 meetings done this week? Why did you only get 3? And you're tracking them, and you're reporting on it every week. That's where the focus goes. And when the focus goes there, you can ignore all that other noise under the surface that people typically will micromanage and focus on. And this is going to free up so many brain cells for you, and your team will be at ease because the rules of the game are pretty clear. This is where we want to get as a team. We've agreed on the targets and the results. We've agreed on them. So you become the coach, and the coach focuses on the areas where you can get improvements, right? And you just keep pulling away those excuses. You provide the support. If there's training needed, the automation, the support around the team members to get to that result. And then guess what? You're going to be well on your way to achieving that result. And this is how it sounds really simple, and I know we got mathy in this, but that's an example. We're just looking at sales in this example. Now, looking at your cash flow, how I typically arrive at these numbers across my department. So 100K, we went through that example, right? We reverse engineered it. What I typically will do is say, what does healthy look like, and how can we measure it? What does healthy look like, and how can we measure it? So if you were looking at your finance, for example, what does healthy look like on cash flow? So your receivables, for example. Healthy in our business and our receivables, again, is anything outside of 90 days in terms of cash coming into our business. We want that to represent less than 5% of all receivables, all cash coming into the business. We want no more than 5% of that to be outside of 90 days, because if it is, then we're overstretched. So that's what healthy looks like, and we measure it by looking at our receivables aged outside of 90 days. Every week we report on that, we look at it. If it's above 5%, that's where I drill down, that's where I focus, and that drives the activities to get those numbers back into alignment to where they need to be. So anyways, we got really mathy in this episode, but the point I wanted to drive home was that in your business, if you stay focused on the results and ignore the minutiae, as a family of deer walks across the road in front of me with two baby deer, it's going to be so much more helpful, because like the example that we were talking about with Elon Musk and Bezos, they obviously do not focus on all the transactions that are happening throughout their business. They focus on the top line numbers that are meaningful, and when things are out of whack or out of KPI, then that's where they drill down and focus and figure out how can we get it back into where it needs to be. So anyways, hope that was helpful, hope it was useful. Hope your October is off to a great start, which is the time of this recording, and I will talk to you soon. Hey, Tim Uchuk here, and real quick, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, if you could take a couple quick seconds to give it a rating, it would be very much appreciated. And secondly, if you're looking for more tools and strategies on how you can crush it in life and business, just head on over to bookwithtim.com, where I've put together a free case study which shows you how to unlock unprecedented freedom today by using the 2 power levers. Just head on over to bookwithtim.com. Until next time, wishing you success and freedom in your business. Cheers.